Warning! This video contains spoilers to Forrest Gump, so if you haven't seen it and want to avoid spoilers, please watch it and come right back. Thank you and enjoy the video.
Hey everybody, it's Dallin, and I gotta get to my job at Jimmy John's, but my bus won't come for another 10 minutes. So, how about I pass the time by talking about Forrest Gump? Released on July 6, 1994, directed by Robert Zemeckis, and starred Tom Hanks. This film tells the story of a man named Forrest Gump and his entire life through friends, family, and whatever crazy stuff we got into. This film grossed $678.2 million worldwide. Well, now that we got all of that out of the way, here is Forrest Gump. So the film starts off with the main character, Forrest Gump, waiting on a bench for his bus to arrive, and that's when he starts talking about his life. As a kid, Forrest Gump had a very crooked spine. It was so crooked that he couldn't even walk. But luckily, he got leg braces, meaning he can finally walk. The next day, Elvis comes and stays at Forrest's house. Wait, what? Then, his mom drops him off at the first day of school, and nobody wants to sit by him, except for one kid, Jenny. And since that first day of school, they were best friends. They would always play by this tree. One day, these kids were throwing rocks at Forrest and picking on him. Jenny is like, "Run, Forrest, run!" Like, do you not see his leg brace? But then, Forrest runs so fast that his leg brace pops off and fixes his legs. Oh, so if you break your arm, all you have to do is throw some stuff. That should fix it. Then we time travel to when Forrest and Jenny are in high school, and the same thing happens again. Forrest just so happens to run through a football field, and when they saw how fast he could run, he was immediately drafted for the football team. See, he ran so fast that all he had to do was get the ball, and he would score a touchdown. He then got put on the All-America football team, where you get to meet the president. Yep, this guy met Elvis, and he met the president. After getting his college degree, he gets drafted to the U.S. Army to fight the war in Vietnam. Again, nobody wants to sit by him, except for this guy named Bubba, and he has a dream to sell shrimp. They do some tests, and sadly, Jenny left. Forrest just lost his best friend. The next day, Forrest goes to Vietnam, and they meet their lieutenant, Lieutenant Dan. Then, Forrest goes out to the battlegrounds, and it starts raining hard, and it rains hard for days. Then the sky finally clears up, and people start shooting at them. People are running and trying to get to safety. Forrest runs so far away from everybody, and he remembers about Bubba. He runs back to get him, but sees someone else on the ground. He picks him up and drops him off at safety and runs back for Bubba. But every time he went back, someone else needed help. He finds Lieutenant Dan, but for some reason, he doesn't want to be saved. Well, why? But Forrest saves him anyway, and someone nicks him with a bullet, and then a bomb goes off. He gets Lieutenant Dan to safety, and Dan tells him there's an airstrike coming, but he still goes to get Bubba. He finds Bubba, and he's bleeding like crazy. He runs him out of there as fast as he can, and bombs start going off everywhere behind them. But Forrest is able to outrun him. But even though he got out of the airstrike, Bubba still died. R.I.P. Bubba. But Forrest goes to the hospital, and he gets to eat all the ice cream he wants. Lieutenant Dan is revealed to have lost his legs in battle. Then he sees someone playing ping-pong, and he wants to play too. And he got the hang of it immediately. He starts playing ping-pong all the time. Then Lieutenant Dan starts screaming, getting really mad that Forrest saved him. Said it was his destiny to die out there. Yeah, and my destiny is to have a stroke. Forrest is playing ping-pong when he learns that he's been given the Medal of Honor. So, 2 weeks later, he gets it, and he gets to meet the president again. Then he accidentally gets pushed into this line. The line leads to this place where he has to give a speech. But right as he's talking, someone unplugs the speaker. But who does he see? Jenny is running across the river. He runs to Jenny, and they hug. Jenny introduces him to some of her new friends, and someone slaps Jenny. So he runs him and starts beating him up. Then Forrest and Jenny go on a nice little walk. But the next day, sadly, Jenny has to go. Then Forrest went to go play and teach ping-pong to wounded veterans, and he got put on the All-American ping-pong team. Then he kind of turned into some sort of a celebrity. He even got put on a talk show. Wow. He walks out, and who does he find? Lieutenant Dan, and he's pretty mad that someone as stupid as Forrest Gump got the Medal of Honor. Forrest Gump strolls him back to his hotel, and he just stays at his place for a bit. They're at a bar, and it's New Year's, so they get to see the countdown happen. Then, they invited the ping-pong team to the White House to see the president. This guy met the president 3 times? Then, Forrest gets his discharge papers, meaning he will not be in the U.S. Army anymore. So he went home, and apparently Forrest got a check for $25,000 to use their paddle to play ping pong. So he accepted it, and he spent it on a shrimp-catching boat. See, Forrest made a promise to Bubba that when the war was over, Bubba would be captain, Forrest would be his first mate, and they would sell shrimp. But since Bubba passed away, and he wanted to keep his promise, he would have to be the captain and sell shrimp. So that's exactly what Forrest does, but he was having no luck finding anything. Someone said that he should name his boat because it's bad luck to have a boat without a name, so he names it Jenny. Then the next day, who does he find? Lieutenant Dan. See, at New Year's, Dan said if Forrest became a shrimp boat captain, he would be his first mate. So, since Forrest is a captain now, Dan becomes his first mate. But he still has a hard time finding anything. But that night, a huge storm came. Every boat on the dock was destroyed. Well, all of them, except for Forrest. Somehow, his boat came out with no damage at all. Since all the boats were destroyed, Forrest and Dan caught loads of shrimp. And later, Dan and Forrest made their company, Bubba Gump Shrimp. Oh, good for him. But one day, Forrest got a phone call saying that his mom was sick, so he rushes to her house and learns that she will die soon. Forrest is really sad, but she tells Forrest that death is just a part of life, and she died a couple days after. R.I.P. Forrest's mom. Forrest got a job mowing lawns, and Lieutenant Dan took care of all the Bubba Gump money. Forrest gave some money to the church, to the fishing hospital, and some to Bubba's family. Forrest was cutting grass, and Jenny came back. They're dancing, they're having fun, and they became best friends again. But one day, Jenny left. Why on earth does she keep leaving? So Forrest gets really sad again, but one day he feels the urge to run. He ran to the end of the road, then he ran to the end of town. Then he ran across Greenbow County, then he ran across the entire state of Alabama. Then he ran all the way to the ocean, but once he got there, he just turned around and kept on running. Then he got to another ocean, and he turned around and kept on running. So now he's been running for 2 years now, so he's definitely caught the attention of people, even Jenny, who saw it on TV. So news reporters start questioning him on why he's running, but he just felt like running. Yep, he just felt like running for 2 whole years. Now, forced running gave people hope, so a lot of people actually joined in with the running. Every day, more and more people were joining. Some people even asked Forrest for advice. He had run for 3 years, 2 months, 14 days, and 16 hours, when suddenly he felt pretty tired, so he just went back home. Oh, come on! He couldn't do 3 years, 2 months, 14 days, and 17 hours? So, he got a letter from Jenny because she saw him on TV, and that's actually why he's been sitting on this bench to go to Jenny's house. But someone tells him that the address is only 5 or 6 blocks away. Wait, he spent hours talking about his entire life just to learn that his destination was only a couple minutes away? So, he arrives at Jenny's house and learns that Jenny is the mom and he's the dad. His son's name is Forrest Jr. Jenny tells Forrest that she's sick. The doctors don't even know what it is, and there's nothing they can do about it. But then, Jenny asks Forrest if he will marry her, and he says yes. Then, they have their wedding, but who arrives? Lieutenant Dan, and he got some prosthetic legs and even has a fiancée. Then, they get pronounced man and wife. But, a couple of days later, Jenny died. R.I.P. Jenny. Forrest went to visit her grave, and he starts getting really emotional. Then, he sends Forrest Jr. off to his first day of school, exactly like he did when he was a kid. Then, the movie ends. And that was Forrest Gump. And oh, would you look at the time? It's ranking time. Remember, this is just my opinion, but I'll say 4.4 stars. I actually thought it was really good. I love the funny moments, the characters, the story. This is an all-around great movie. And look at that, the bus is coming in only 2 minutes. Let's move on to 5 fun facts about Forrest Gump. Here, I will share 5 fun facts about the movie, and you might even learn something pretty cool. Anyways, let's get right to it. Number 5. Obviously, Tom Hanks didn't actually meet all the presidents. They just used some really advanced CGI to make it look like he's actually standing face to face with all those people. And I think that it got the job done. Number 4. The bench that they used for Forrest Gump is actually a tourist attraction that you can visit today. It's located in Savannah, Georgia at the Savannah History Museum. Number 3. The run that Forrest Gump did across America was inspired by a real-life person. His name was Louis Michael Fagora, and at age 16 in 1982, he ran across the entire United States of America. Number 2. Forrest Gump was actually based on a novel. In 1986, Winston Groom wrote Forrest Gump, and guess what? In the original book, Forrest Gump became an astronaut and went on his space travel with an orangutan named Sue. I can see why they didn't keep that in. And finally, number 1. After the film came out, actual real-life Bubba Gump's trip locations started popping up all over the world because of the film's success, and that just goes to show how big Forrest Gump truly was. And that was my review of Forrest Gump. I've had a great time doing a review of this film. It was super fun. But anyways, I have to go because my bus just arrived. Hello, could I get a ride to Jimmy John's?
Kid, there's a Jimmy John's right there.
Oh, you have got to be kidding me.